Yo, yo. We gonna let a few more people get in here, man. I apologize for the lateness. You know what I'm saying? Had to get some food in me before I got started, man. Definitely had to upload some pictures as well. But we here. We here. I'm gonna let a few people get in here real quick. We really got something to talk about because this is crazy news. You know what I'm saying? We got some shit we need to talk about, baby. For sure. Let me see. Hold up. All right, I can see we got 4 people in the building, man. Drop a like as soon as you come in. This is Mazuma TV. You not late. You ain't late at all, Mimi. I just got on here. I'm not even a minute in yet. This Mazuma TV. Shout out to the nation. Shout out to the mob. We in the building, of course, man. I hope everybody had a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive day. I'm at the crib chilling right now, man. Like I said, I'm sorry for the lateness. I was setting up, you know what I'm saying? I got something to eat. I see all the previous comments too, you know what I'm saying? My dad was on here. Hopefully he come back. But let's see, Notes is in the building, stop motion, MMA. Thought you forgot your wallet. What? What you talking about, man? My pop was talking about how I be forgetting my wallet. Oh man, what's going on? He over here telling my business. I ain't cool. But we in the building as always, man. Yo, before I get started, I just want to let y'all know, I appreciate everybody who's been purchasing the merchandise on MazumaMerch.com, man. I've seen that we've gotten a couple sales. And most likely that's been coming from YouTube because I haven't really been promoting it on social media. So thank you very much, man. Shout out to Nation, shout out to the mob. I really do genuinely feel like I got some of the best supporters on YouTube, man. You know what I mean? We're not even that big yet. Pause. And the support I receive for the amount of subscribers that I have is amazing. So thank you very much for everybody who purchased the merch, man. I work hard on that. You know what I mean? I've been consistently working on that for well over a year now. So thank you, man. Shout out to Tito in the building. He said Mazuma Mob. He is the one who created the he the one who created the Mazuma Mob. He's the one who came up with that name. So shout out to the boy Tito for sure. One of my guys for life. He said, "You mad late, gang? I'm about to throw a steak at you." I apologize, Slime. You know what I'm saying? But we in the building regardless, dog. We be on here. We be on here till 1, 2 in the morning. It really don't make no difference. You know what I'm saying? He was saying the reason why you late is you forgot your wallet at Pivot. That has happened several times. You know, I got a history of losing my wallet. I don't know why he put my business out there like that, but it's all good. 10, 10 people in the building, man. Hit the like button as soon as you come in. We got some things that we need to discuss. We have some things that we need to discuss. So let's get this shit going. Um, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. We got 10 people in the building, man. Let's just speak on it and then continue to expand from there. Whoever come in late, we'll just reiterate it, or they could just fall in line with whatever the conversation is. You know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, I agree with that, Slime. We is the best nation on YouTube. That's a fact. But what I really want to speak on right now is the whole situation that's going on. According to Michael Benson, he was the first one that I seen report on this situation, and it was sent to my DM right away. I refreshed my timeline. It was the first post that had came up. And according to Michael Benson, which I'll put up right here for you guys to go check out, it says Terence Crawford, according to Michael Benson, Terence Crawford has seemingly now been stripped of his IBF welterweight world title, and Jaron Boots Ennis has been upgraded from interim to full world champion. No official announcement yet, but Ennis is now listed as champ with no mention of Crawford in new IBF rankings. That definitely caught me off guard. That is something that I did not know about. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, neither one of my sources came up to me and told me that this was going to happen. So when I saw this, I was completely in shock. You know what I'm saying? I was completely in shock. and I didn't know what to really think of it at first. You know what I mean? There's a few different ways that I could go about it, but my first reaction was wow. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what a lot of people thought. Wow. And I was surprised with how they elevated Jaron Ennis from interim to full world champion. You know what I'm saying? Because initially I thought if they were going to strip Terence Crawford, that the title will be vacant and Jaron Ennis will fight whoever's in line after him to fight for the vacant IBF world title. You know what I mean? But it just seems like they just handed over the belt to him, similar to what they did with Tim Tszyu, Devin Haney, etc. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like the situation is right now. Another thing that it told me was, and I'm sure Jaron Ennis didn't want to just receive the belt, but at the end of the day, it's like, what is he supposed to do? You know what I mean? If they handed it over to him, why wouldn't he take it? He's been working tirelessly to get a world title. You know what I mean? And I think that he's really going to use this to his advantage because, according to this post that he had put up on Instagram with his whole response to this, it's simple and plain. He said, what's going to be their excuse now? You know what I'm saying? You already know who he's referring to. He's referring to the Stanionis of the world. He's referring to the Thurmans of the world, the Cody Crawleys, all them dudes. You know what I'm saying? All them dudes. That's exactly who he's addressing because if you guys haven't been really keeping up with what's going on with Jaron Ennis, it's been extremely difficult. It's been extremely difficult for this kid to find fights. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys turning him down left and right. And one of the biggest excuses was that he didn't bring anything to the table. You know what I mean? That's something that Terence Crawford and Bomac have said together at one particular time. That's something that Kevin Hart. No, Keith Thurman. I don't know why the hell I said Kevin. Oh, okay. It's because it's on my screen right now that I'm looking at. But Keith Thurman, he's one of the people that said Jaron Ennis doesn't bring anything to the table, and it really wouldn't benefit him if he were to fight Jaron Ennis. So this is his response to the whole situation right now. And I agree with that 100%, man. What's their excuse going to be now? What are they really going to say? And it reminds me back to when Terence Crawford got the WBO title from Jeff Horn. Because when he was coming up and he was coming up to 147, they told him to get a belt first. You know what I mean? They were telling him to get a belt first and that he's new to the division. He has to prove himself, blah, blah, blah. Keith Thurman was one of the main ones saying it. So after Terence Crawford got a belt, then they were saying he was on the wrong side of the street. They can't say this with Jaron Ennis because he's been working closely with the PBC. He's been working with Showtime. Okay, Showtime's no longer involved with boxing after this year. That sounds good, all that good stuff. But nonetheless, he still does business with Premier Boxing Champions. My guy, Derek, shout out to Derek Moore in the building. The maestro, he said, why did they strip Crawford? What was the reason? Well, according to Michael Benson in another tweet, I didn't screenshot it or upload it, but apparently they said that he was caught up in this rematch with Earl Spence, and because of that, he wasn't able to defend his title against the mandatory Jaron Ennis. So I guess they just did the man the favor, like, all right, you want to be caught up in this rematch with Earl Spence, and we don't know exactly when the rematch is gonna be, so we're gonna take this belt off of you. You know what I'm saying? But what's strange about this situation is that them stripping Terence Crawford, he's not in the IBF rankings. You know what I mean? He's not even listed on the IBF rankings as somebody who could be in line to potentially face Jaron Ennis for the belt. So that lets me know that one, he's it could be that. Well, for me, it really means that he's not at 147 anymore. But then again, he's still the unified champion of the world, although they stripped him of the IBF. And you know, when guys typically have other belts, they don't rank them in sanctioning bodies. You know what I mean? But I was completely confused by the situation. It definitely caught me off guard. And if you guys haven't really been paying attention, he's only had the belt for like 3 months and some change. You know what I mean? And I don't ever recall them saying that he had a certain time frame to defend the title against Jaron Ennis or come to some type of deal with Jaron Ennis. I didn't hear anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I just knew that Jaron Ennis was number one for the IBF title. And of course, he's been the mandatory for the title for a little while, but I didn't see any pre-warnings before they stripped Terence Crawford. You know what I mean? And I don't know exactly how Terence Crawford feels about this whole situation. Maybe he's like, all right, well, I'm moving up to 54 anyway, so I'm not really tripping. Or he's like, I already made history by becoming two-time undisputed world champion, so I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? Tito goes on to say, how long has Benavidez been Canelo's mandatory? It's been a while. It's been a while. You know what I mean? He's done title eliminator after title eliminator, and he still hasn't gotten that opportunity. But apparently, the WBC is going to be mandating that fight between Canelo and the winner. If Benavidez comes out successful, they're going to mandate him to fight Canelo for May 2024. This is what I heard a while back. So we just going to have to wait to see. You know, the WBC is very lenient with Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? To the point where people saying the WBC stands for "We Back Canelo." You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to give Canelo more time or to give him. They probably gonna hand him a franchise belt, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. They probably gonna hand Canelo the franchise belt and then just give David Benavidez the WBC world title if he doesn't follow through on fighting the Mexican monster. You know what I mean? That's just what I personally think. Um, Let me see. You think Bud would have fought Boost if Spence ain't activate the rematch clause? Well, not necessarily, because he's came out and told you that he doesn't really care to fight Jaron Ennis. You know what I'm saying? He said that he doesn't bring anything to the table. This is something that Terence Crawford and Bomac have said on at separate times. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, then why would they fight him if the Spence rematch fell through? He told you exactly who he wanted to fight. He said that he wanted to fight Jermell Charlo or Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? And then after Jermell Charlo's performance against Canelo, he seemed like he didn't want to fight him at all. He seemed like he didn't want to fight Jermell after that performance against Canelo. So he seemed like he was strictly pressed on fighting Canelo at 168 pounds, and Boost just wasn't somebody on his list. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't think he would have fought Boost if the rematch, if Spence ain't activate the rematch clause. I think he'd have went in a different direction. Specifically, I think he either would have went to 54 and try to become undisputed there, or take that once in a lifetime opportunity against against Canelo Alvarez and move up 3 weight classes, not 2 like Jermell did, but 3. You know what I'm saying? He says, watch how Thurman comes out of nowhere talking about he want to fight Ennis now that Ennis has a belt. I don't know, man. I don't know if Thurman's really gonna jump out the woodworks to do that. I think, in all honesty, he's waiting for all of the belts to be vacant, so he'd go after that WBA strap. You know what I mean? He had the belt at the WBA at one particular time. I believe he was a super champion before Manny Pacquiao took that belt from him. You know what I mean? And then it went over to Ugas later on. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get a belt that's not in line with Jaron Ennis. So if Terence Crawford vacates the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, I think he'll look at those opportunities more than the IBF opportunity. You know what I mean? It just seems like he's not really motivated to face Jaron Ennis. What the reason is, I'm sure it's because he finds Jaron Ennis to be a legitimate threat. Keith Thurman knows boxing. He studies these dudes, and I can tell by how well he breaks down guys' styles and their attributes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like I think Keith Thurman is going to wait for all the belts to be vacant so he could just grab his and then hold that belt hostage. You know what I mean? That's what I personally think. I just want to know exactly what Booth said in this picture right here. What's their excuse going to be now? You know what I mean? Because guys who not even above Jaron Ennis in the rankings are looking for reasons not to fight him. They're looking for excuses not to fight him, specifically Cody Crawley. Cody Crawley is one of the guys who blatantly ducked Jaron Ennis and didn't really have a reason as to why. He never put out a statement. He never justified he never went against the reports that have been out there saying that Cody Crawley turned down a life-changing amount of money to face Jaron Ennis. This is something that Cody Crawley has yet to acknowledge. I wonder if Cody Crawley will take on Jaron Ennis now that he's the full champion now. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the only person that seems to be even speaking Jaron Ennis' name or showing any type of indication of fighting him is Mario Barrios. You know what I mean? And that's somebody who I don't question that man's heart because of what he's been taking on lately. No tune-ups. Gervonta Davis, Keith Thurman, your Dennis Ugas, consistently. No tune-ups in between to try to get it back on the win column. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just taking them as they come, ready for smoke. Mario Barrios is the only dude that I feel like will step up to Jaron Ennis in this present moment. That's what I personally believe. And I don't think anybody can convince me otherwise, in all honesty. You know what I'm saying? There's 14 people in the building, man. Let's get to it, man. 14 people in the building. Let's get them likes up, man. I appreciate everybody who's checking in right now. Note says boot stoppage against Mario Barrios. Yo, listen, I'm a big, if you guys don't really follow my channel or anything like that, I'm a big fan of Mario Barrios, but I'm not about to sit here and act like he has some type of I'm not gonna say chance, because everybody has a chance when they step in the ring, especially at an elite level. But I'm not about to sit here and act like Mario Barrios is a 50-50 fight or anything like that. I honestly believe Jaron just has a little bit too much for Mario Barrios. You know what I mean? Stylistically, I just think that he's all wrong for Barrios. You know what I mean? I'm gonna drop the link in a little bit, man. Just let me finish getting this off, because I know once people get on here, we're gonna be all over the place, and I just want to make sure that I'm addressing everything that's going on right now, because this is huge news to me, man. Philadelphia has a world champion, man, and it just so happens to be the man that I said would be world champion back in like 2018. You know what I'm saying? 5 years later, he goes from interim to the fully elevated champion. Now, I wonder exactly what Terence Crawford response is going to be to this, because he just posted on his story not too long ago, and it was Shakur Stevenson playing whatever you want to call it, ping pong or whatever the hell. He seemed like he was more focused on them competing than realizing that he's no longer undisputed champion of the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm extremely happy for Jaron Ennis. He's somebody who actually lives this fighter lifestyle, bro. He lives this fighter lifestyle. And I don't see many guys who work as hard as this man. This man eats, sleeps, and shits boxing, bro. You know what I mean? That man, you don't see this man out in the club drunk and getting into any type of trouble with the law or anything like that. This kid he even go to church and shit, man. This dude is like he's a great example of a role model that these kids need and these fighters need that's coming up in the sport right now. If there's any fighter you want to be inspired by or want to follow their lead, man, it's Jaron Ennis, bro. He's an exemplary he's a great example of a truly disciplined fighter, bro. Gives me throwback vibes. You know what I mean? For sure. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was definitely focused on that ping pong match, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure Terence Crawford will speak on it eventually. You know, you already know somebody from the media gonna pull him to the side and ask him about it, or he'll end up tweeting some things exactly on what his opinion is. Anonymous says, do you think Crawford will fight Boots now? Because technically, if he fight Boots and win, he'll become 3-time undisputed. I was actually thinking that, Anonymous. I was wondering. I was like, I wonder since because previously he said Boots don't bring nothing to the table. So now that he actually brings a belt to the table, your belt that they stripped from you, are you willing to stay at 147 to fight Jaron Ennis so you could possibly become 3-time undisputed world champion? This is a valid question, bro. This is a great question. With Terence Crawford being such a competitor, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's something that he wouldn't do. I'm sure he would do it. You know what I'm saying? I just think that he's in a pretty much a how can I say this? He's in a pretty corny predicament right now. You know what I mean? Because he's caught up in this rematch clause right now. It seems like Earl Spence don't want to budge. And it seems like the fight is going to be at a separate weight class. You know what I mean? I had somebody who's close to Terence Crawford's team tell me that the fight is still going to be at 147. But if the fight's still going to be at 147, it's like, come on, man. There's no reason why you shouldn't be fighting Boots immediately afterwards. Because if you say that you're having trouble, they said Terence Crawford had 3 attempts to make 147 in the Spence fight and that he needs to move up ASAP. Whatever the case is, man, if he stays at 147 for this fight, there's no reason why he shouldn't face Jaron Ennis immediately afterwards and go after the undisputed crown again. If you become a 3-time undisputed world champion against arguably one of the greatest talents in boxing right now, bro, this is like you already doing all time great shit. Now, if you come back and you beat a lion, a young hungry lion in your late 30s, bro, on some Floyd Mayweather Canelo shit, that's impressive, man. Okay, so Tito says, do you genuinely think they should have stripped Crawford? I don't think they should have. You know what I mean? He didn't even have the belt that long. You know what I mean? Because you know these fighters nowadays, they only fighting 1 to 2 times a year. Terence Crawford just rumbled Earl, I believe in July, June, July, whatever. It's been 3 months and some change since then. You know what I mean? So why didn't they really if I don't think they should have stripped him right away, but they should have like really put the pressure on him or have him agree to fight in Jaron Ennis next after the Earl Spence rematch. But I think, in all honesty, the IBF did this because PBC isn't with Showtime anymore. They out here exploring, and we don't know how long it's going to take for them to find a new platform to showcase their talents on. So it could be they can announce it next week. They can announce it tomorrow. They can announce it in 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Everything needs to be ironed out. Al Heyman's going to make sure that everything is correct in that contract before he signs the dotted line. If he sees something that he's not with, he's not going to take that chance. He's going to take his time formulating a deal that they could both agree on that works to his advantage. You know what I'm saying? But I think the problem is they don't have a home to showcase this fight right now. Seems like everything is in the air. There's no date for the rematch with Earl Spencer Crawford. They don't know what weight they're going to be fighting at. There's a lot of question marks on exactly what's going on with this fight. So they like, yo, man, like we got this guy right here who's waiting to defend this title. We waiting for this. This is guy waiting here to fight the winner of you two guys. If you guys are not going to come back to 147, if you guys are going to continue to, if you guys are going to fight at 154 and stay there, then you're holding up the division. So to keep this division moving, we're going to give this belt to Jaron Ennis. That makes perfect sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't give him the belt to Jaron Ennis just allows the 147 division to continue flowing. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Do I think they should have stripped Crawford this early? No, absolutely not. I think they should have let it play out a little bit more to see exactly what was going to happen and just had Jaron Ennis defend that interim title. You know what I mean? Yo, shout out to Lorenzo in the building. What's up, homie? Stop Motion said, I heard PBC going to Netflix. Well, I heard PBC going to Amazon Prime. So I don't know exactly what's going on. That's how you know that there's a lot of stuff up in the air, and we don't know anything factual in this moment in time. But what I want to show you guys is a post from one of Jaron Ennis's coaches, Lawrence Smalls. He's a great trainer as well. He has a good fighter, and his son name is Tamir Smalls. You know what I'm saying? So real impressive welterweight kid. And Lawrence Smalls is a hell of a trainer, bro. He works with Bozy, and he helps Jaron Ennis get ready for fights as well. He put up a post on Facebook. I've seen it because we actually friends on there. So let me get into exactly what Lawrence Smalls says. But let me upload it real quick because it's not showing. Let me see. Damn, I don't think I even saved it. Oh, no, it's right here. Let me add that real quick. And y'all going to get the gist of what – it's going to be real clear because of what Lawrence Smalls is saying, most likely this – and he's an outspoken dude, so it's not like Bozy is going to copy and paste what he said because Bozy be on the humble just like his son Jaron. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of Jaron Ennis's coaches, and this is his exact reaction to this situation. According to Lawrence Smalls, let me see. Hold on, let me get this correct so I can read it. Lawrence Smalls says, Debo to them chumps. Give that shit up. And the new IBF champion, Jaron Ennis. I told y'all, dude, soft. Congratulations, champ. Yo, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy. This is exactly what Lawrence Smalls saying. He said, Debo to them chumps. So he pretty much said that he snatched that belt off of Terence Crawford because he didn't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he took that belt away brutally. Debo to them chumps. Give that shit up. And the new IBF champion, Jaron Ennis, I told y'all, dude soft. Of course, he's referring to Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? And he goes on to say, congratulations, champ. So they have a world champion in their stable, man. Shout out to Jaron Ennis. I'm very happy for the dude. I'm sure he got a million DMs right now. I sent him one to send my congratulations. I'm sure he might see it later on. I don't know. That boy got about to have a 500,000 followers on Instagram, so probably not. It's probably gonna be a little harder to see my message, but I'll let him know when I see him. You know what I mean? Shout out to the boy Notes. He said, "What is your thoughts on Floyd saying Spence should be fighting at 160?" Um, I don't know if Spence should fight at 160. We won't really know until he performs at 154, and if he seems to be still drained at that weight class, or he's not performing, and he's performing as if he's drained or a dead man walking in, he should fight at 160. But the only person that knows whether Spence should be fighting at 160 is Errol Spence. You know what I mean? And it's an extra 7 pounds he gets to keep moving up to 154, and I think it'll make a huge difference in his performances. You know what I mean? But 160, I think that's a hell of two weight class jump. That's kind of crazy, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That don't even sound like something that usually happens. You know what I mean? I think fighters usually take it one weight class at a time. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I don't think he needs to move all the way up to 160. Let's see how he performs at 154. You know what I mean? Spence should definitely move up, but I don't think he should move all. I don't think he should move up two weight classes and then continue going on a run. Like him moving up two weight classes and being in line to fight somebody like John Beck, that's a little too much. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion. He is outgrowing 147, Lorenzo. I think he outgrew it. I don't think he's outgrowing it. I don't think he's in the process. I think that his past tense. I think he outgrew 47. So do I think he should be at 60? No, I think that 154 would be a good move up for him. He could fully acclimate to that weight, put on a little bit more muscle, whatever he needs to do. And not even 60. Floyd said 168. Yeah, that's definitely too big for Earl. Earl's not big enough to compete with them guys at 68, especially with the type of style he got, the walk down, aggressive, combination punching, walk you down, beat you up type style. That's not going to work for somebody his size at that weight class. You know what I mean? That's just what I personally think. Only person that knows if he should move up to 60 is Earl Spence. He the only one who knows how he truly feels. You know what I mean? No said, I don't think Spence should stay at 47 for the rematch. If it don't happen at 54, then it's going to end bad. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really, but I think regardless of the weight, I don't think that it's really going to change anything, man. I think that within that one fight, it showed a whole lot about the difference in their skill set, physical strength, power, accuracy, overall boxing intelligence. I think it was more than just the weight cut as to why Earl Spence got defeated that night. You know what I mean? I think it was more of a style thing rather than a weight thing. The weight thing could have played a factor. That's a fact. However, I think that the skill set outweighs the whole drain situation. You know what I mean? That's just what I personally think. But going back to Jaron Ennis, man, Philadelphia got a world champion right now. I think he's the only world champion in Philadelphia right now with Stephen Fulton recently losing. But it's interesting how this 147 division is going to open up right now. Because with this man getting the belt now and with Booth saying that he wants to get every belt in the division, it's definitely going to make the 147 division real interesting. I think Jaron Ennis is going to be since Earl Spence and Terence Crawford are going to be at 54. I think that Jaron Ennis is going to be the one that gets 147 back up and popping. He has some great fights in front of him now. Hopefully they don't use any excuses, but this definitely opens up an opportunity between Jaron Ennis and Keith Thurman. This definitely opens up a match between Mario Barrios and Jaron Ennis, which is a solid fight. Of course, Cody Crawley. You already know Conor Benn is still around. Maybe he will go after the IBF title. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll go, bro. Maybe Conor Benn will, you know what I mean, come over to the States and fight Jaron Ennis now that he got the IBF title, because Conor Benn been running his mouth in the UK about fighting Barrios and Boots and all them other guys. You know what I'm saying? So we just going to have to wait and see. But I'm extremely excited for what's next in the 147 division. I'm really looking forward to seeing Terence Crawford's reaction to the whole being stripped situation. You know what I mean? And getting the belt over to Jaron Ennis. If anybody is on Twitter right now, just go and check to see if Terence Crawford says something about the whole situation, because I think at any minute he's gonna respond. I don't think he's gonna let that be out there for too long without saying something. You know what I mean? Terence Crawford, he's not the biggest trash talker, but if he has something on his mind, he definitely gonna let it be known. That's how he comes across to me. You know what I mean? Let's see. Because you seen once Spence got dropped the first time, he immediately went to his break him down, come forward style, and that made it easier, tailor made for Bud. Yeah, that's what it's looking like, man. I think that Earl fell in love with that style right around the time that he fought Sean Porter, because when he boxed Mikey Garcia, Mikey Garcia was a phenomenal boxer, fundamentally sound, great timing, solid power. You know what I'm saying? Earl put on a masterclass of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really have to load up on his punches too much. Just kept his jab out there and was showcasing a great um, fight of distance, combination punching, and a solid jab. You know what I'm saying? He beat him all 12. You know what I'm saying? Earl definitely beat Mikey all 12. But it seems like after the Sean Porter fight, he fell in love with the going blow for blow and attempting to break your spirit, your will, and all that. And he honestly thought that he was going to be able to do that with somebody like Terence Crawford, who during that fight stayed real nice and calm, relaxed, seen the shots coming, prepared properly, and would fire off. You could tell that he did a lot. Him and his team did a lot of studying on Earl Spence on and exactly on how to beat him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mikey was pound for pound level fighter at the time. Yeah, bro, he was top 5 to me at that time. When he was down at 135 and knocked out what was it? The hell was his name, man? He knocked out that one Russian dude. Damn. I think it was like Zlatinshin or something like that. He knocked him out cold, bro. They put an oxygen mask on him. Then he went up to 140, beat Broner. Then he went back down and beat Robert Easter, became unified champion at 35. You know what I'm saying? I just think that 147 was a little bit too much of a jump for somebody like Mikey Garcia, who started back at 126 pounds. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I personally think. But regardless, Earl Spence showed a masterclass of boxing. And that was one of his best performances to date. And I think if he would have took that approach in Sean Porter fight, he would have had an easier time. I think he would have had a less controversial fight than the one he had against Sean Porter. Because some people believe, not a lot of people, there's some people that believe Sean Porter may have gotten the edge against Earl if it wasn't for that knockdown. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think his name was like Victor Zlatinshin. I could have it wrong. You know what I'm saying? I think his name was Zlatinshin though. Conor Ben gonna have trouble walking out the ring. Boots gonna violate, bro. That style tailor made for Boots too. Yeah, like Conor Ben, you know what I mean? Besides him being a drug cheat, if we just looking at him for who he is, he's a solid fighter. He got good hand speed, explosive. He puts his punches together real well. And he got some he showcased some good movement in his last fight as well against that tall 54 dude. But Jaron Ennis could do all of that at a higher level. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just as devastating of a puncher, if not a bigger puncher than Conor Ben. I think he's just as fast, if not faster, than Conor Ben. I think he's more elusive than Conor Ben, hands down. Um, I just think that everything plays in Jaron Ennis' hands when it comes to somebody like Conor Ben. You know what I mean? I think the only person that could possibly beat Jaron Ennis is Terence Crawford, but obviously Terence Crawford didn't want to. He's caught up in that. I think it's more that he got caught up in that rematch, bro. I don't think it had anything to do with him not really wanting to fight Boots or anything like that. Because, and this is a great point. This is a great point. I don't know how I disregarded this, but remember when y'all let me know in the comments when Terence Crawford did that interview with $1 million worth of game with Gillian Wallow. He was saying how the Boots could have been his mandatory if he would have stood in the WBO, but he went the IBF route instead, and that he could have been his mandatory and they could have fought each other if Boots stayed in the WBO rankings. Now that Boots has been the top dog in the IBF rankings, he's in line to face Terence Crawford, who was the IBF world champion. Now he's in line to face you. He's your mandatory. You caught up in a whole different situation, and now he ends up taking your belt. So how are you going to exactly respond to this? I think that Bud Crawford's response to this whole situation is gonna say a lot about him. Because if he rocks out, and acts like it's not no big deal that Boots has the belt that he worked hard for, then it just let me know that I think it's more than him. I think it's more than just Boots not bringing nothing to the table. I think that it has more to do with him just not wanting to fight him, man. That man is 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. I don't think that he's in that stage of his career now where he's willing to fight them young, hungry lions. I just think that he's trying to secure as much of a big bag as possible so he can retire and kick it back with his family out in Omaha. That's what I personally think. Bud don't got too much longer in the sport. Although he's performing at a high level, he said himself that he does not want to be in boxing past 40. If he's 36, you do the math. That man only has about a good 3 to 4 years left in the sport of boxing. And that's a small window. That's only like if he fights once a year, that's only 4 fights left. If it's 2 fights a year, then it may be 8 fights left. You know what I'm saying? Lorenzo said Bud don't want to regain that belt. If he doesn't, that's just gonna let me know that Boots pretty much punked that dude out his belt. Then that let me know that he did debo him. You know what I'm saying? If Bud does not speak on want to possibly regain that title because of how they stripped him, then that's an issue for me. That's gonna say a lot. That's gonna say a lot about Terence Crawford's opinion on Jaron Ennis and if he's really willing to fight him or not. You know what I mean? That's just what I personally think. Bud got like 3 years left. Yeah. So if we doing the math and the average fighter at an elite level fights once or twice a year, if he got 3 years left, the minimum could be 3 fights. The maximum could be 6. Regardless, that's not that many fights, bro. That's gonna go by in a flash. So what is he gonna do exactly? This is very important to me. You know what I mean? This is real interesting. It's gonna say a lot about Bud how he responds to this. Because, we can't help the fact that he has that rematch clause, right? And we can't help that Earl Spencer's not budging. However, if he gets through this rematch clause, or they just find a way to scrap that rematch altogether, there's nobody else that's really interested in the fight besides Jaron Ennis. I don't think Jermell Charlo is a more exciting fight than Jaron Ennis. And I don't think that Tim Tszyu is a fight that's more interesting than the Jaron Ennis fight. I'm going to just keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I personally believe. And a lot of people not going to really have much belief in him in that fight against Canelo if it were to happen. You know what I mean? So I think Jaron Ennis is the best fight possible for Terence Crawford at this point in time. How does the fight between Bud and Boots end, in your opinion? Ryan, that's a hell of a fight, bro. That's a 50-50 fight. You know what I mean? It's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, because everything that Terence Crawford does, Jaron Ennis is capable of doing. And in all honesty, I think that he's a better switch hitter than Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford has a lot of defensive flaws in the orthodox position. You know what I mean? He's a way better southpaw than he is an orthodox. You know what I mean? And of course, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Not everybody is equal on both sides, but Jaron Ennis, he looks the exact same on both sides of the plate. Whether we talking orthodox or southpaw, he doesn't really lose anything. Doesn't really lose his balance, his power. He's not falling over shots. You know what I'm saying? He's not winding up too crazy or looking like he's uncomfortable throwing certain punches. You would not be able to tell if you were to see Jaron Ennis box southpaw and orthodox. You wouldn't know what hand he right with for real. You wouldn't know because he does both so smoothly. And he doesn't get hit at either stance that he seems to fight in. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he does get hit a lot when he fights in the orthodox stance. That just was something I've really noticed. I think that Boots, I don't think there's anything that Bud has to his advantage besides the experience at an elite level. You know what I mean? I think I'm definitely rooting for Boots if they fight. But this is a 50-50 fight, man, because Bud has that sneaky kind of power where he probably could be losing a fight or whatever and have you run right into this one shot. And he has one of the best killer instincts in the sport. If Boots were to get hurt against Terence Crawford, I think it'll be all bad for him. You know what I mean? I think Bud is one of the best finishers in the sport of boxing, but Jaron Ennis has a great killing instinct. I've seen it personally. Um, and he knows how to finish guys as well, man. You know what I mean? Note says 51-49, Bud. That's still a close contest, but I see what you're saying. You favoring Jaron, you favoring Bud, and that's okay. You know what I mean? After that performance against Earl, there's a lot of people that's believing that Bud could defeat Jaron Ennis. You know what I mean? There's still some people out here that believe Earl Spence could beat Boots right now. He just can't beat Crawford. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, very interesting. I can't wait to see Terence Crawford's comments to this whole situation, and I can't wait to see what Boots' next move is. Are people going to be jumping at the opportunity to face Jaron Ennis, or are they still going to avoid him? Because we've seen world champions that have gotten world titles, that have a whole ranking system of people they could possibly fight, and these contenders won't face the champions. We've seen it with Guillermo Rigondeaux. You know what I mean? Guillermo Rigondeaux was one of the champions at 122 pounds, had a whole ranking, and none of them dudes on the rankings wanted to face Guillermo. You know what I'm saying? No said I got Boots beating Spence. Yeah, I do too at this particular time. Me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. Especially after that performance, I think Boots would have the last Earl Spence we seen. I think Boots would have stopped as well. Mean He says, I hope Edwin upset Shakur. I feel Shakur is overrated and has a weak ass resume. That sound like I don't think Shakur is overrated at all. You know what I mean? I don't think you become a 3-time world champion in 2 different divisions and beating current and former champions being overrated. I don't believe that. Rigondeaux was the most feared man in boxing in 2012 to 2015. Bro, Leo Santa Cruz hid for his life when it came to Guillermo Rigondeaux. He didn't want zero smoke. Besides that, we also had Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton. They avoided Guillermo Rigondeaux at all costs. We seen it all happen, bro. That man had to move up 2 weight classes against somebody who was a 2-time Olympic gold medalist like him just to defeat him. You know what I mean? And then Guillermo, being as old as he was, he goes down to 118 pounds and becomes world champion again. You know what I mean? And there's still people to this day that won't look in Guillermo Rigondeaux's direction. Him being in his 40s. It is what it is. Weight class matters. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. Jordan Sheriff says, I have to go with Bud just based on his proven track record against elite fighters, not because I've seen any real flaws in Boots. Yeah, for sure. And I respect that. You know what I mean? You're not using your emotions, you're using the facts that are in front of you, and you're entitled to your opinion. You know what I mean? Me, on the other hand, I think that I think I'm rocking with Boots in that fight against Terence Crawford. I ain't gonna lie to you. But it is a 50-50 fight. Anything can happen throughout the course of that fight. Bud has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, man. And if you get hurt against that man, it's not going to be a good ending for you, I'm telling you. Guillermo was levels above everyone at that time. That's a fact. And he's probably one of the most skilled fighters that I've seen in my life as well. That's what I personally think. Let me see. We back up here. I forgot the picture was up there. No, I'm not favoring Boots. I said it's a 50-50 fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I'm rooting for Jaron Ennis, but looking at it stylistically and what they're both capable of doing, I got it as a 50-50 fight. That's what I personally think. You know what I mean? All right, let me see something real quick. How much time we got on this live right now? Let me see. All right, we've been on the live for 44 minutes. And we got 23 people in the building, man. If you like that content, if you enjoy the boxing talk, man, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and put it on and select the option all so you know every time that I'm posting a video or going live. You know what I'm saying? I hope they fight. Good fight. Yeah, definitely. Mean M says Shakur is hyped by Top Rank. His last fight was a Japanese chef at your local bar and grill. Weak resume. That sounds good, bro. You know what I mean? But you saying Shakur is hyped by Top Rank. If Top Rank is his promoters, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. Hype their fighter. They're supposed to promote their fighter. So I don't really understand that one quote that he said his last fight was a Japanese chef at a local bar and grill. But what do you say to people that what do you say to Shakur Stevenson, who has faced current or former world champions? Jamel Herring was world champion at 130 pounds when they fought. Oscar Valdez was champion at 130 pounds when they had fought and came off one of the biggest wins of his career against Miguel Burchelt, and then went on to be the top guy like Robson Conceição. You know what I'm saying? Oscar Valdez didn't have a single loss on his record until he faced Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? So, and Jamel Herring, he had came off one of the biggest wins of his career against Carl Frampton, who was a multi-time world champion as well. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand what you're talking about. You're talking about a Japanese chef at a local bar and grill. That's corny, bro. Like that's so typical for somebody to say. Anybody who believes Shakur Stevenson is overrated, don't really know the sport of boxing. And I'm gonna keep, and you can feel however you feel about that situation. That's just my opinion on your observation. If you believe that Shakur Stevenson is overrated in any sense, you don't know the sport of boxing, bro. Jamel Herring was past his prime. Valdez is a known steroid user. Okay, so let's do this, right? Jamel Herring was past his prime. As far as I'm concerned, Jamel Herring was one of the current world champions in the sport of boxing. Yo, right or wrong, was Jamel Herring a world champion at that time? Leave it in the comments. Facts or fiction. Was Jamel Herring world champion at 130 pounds at the time? Let me know in the comments, bro. Tell me, because I must be tripping. All facts, right? He was one of the champions at 130 pounds, right? So nobody really cares to speak on who was past their prime or not. You know what I'm saying? Did he have a world title? Yes, he had a world title. So if you are a world champion in that weight class, you're one of the best in that weight class. If you have any of the 4 belts, if you have the WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA, if you have any one of them titles, you are one of the best in the weight division. Fuck that. You're one of the best in the world. So I'm not going to sit here and shit on Shakur Stevenson for beating Jamel Herring. Jamel Herring was one of the best super featherweights in the world. And there's nothing you could really say about that. You know what I'm saying? He was world level with the belt. Exactly, Lorenzo. It's just that Shakur made him look like he was average. And that just shows how great Shakur Stevenson was, because Shakur Stevenson moved up from 126 pounds. Moving on. Let's see. You saying that Valdez is a known steroid user. Wouldn't it make it more impressive that a clean fighter beat an undefeated fighter who also was taking performance enhancement drugs to have an advantage? That man did everything he could to have an advantage in fights. He was a known cheater. And Shakur, being a clean fighter, was still able to defeat the guy who's known for being a cheater or trying to have some type of advantage over a fighter. Isn't that more impressive that you're beating a guy that has been caught attempting to have advantages over different fighters? And this was an undefeated guy. So you can't see that Valdez was past his prime. You can't say that. So I don't really understand your points. You know what I'm saying? Farthest Shakur will go is 140. He has no power. It won't transfer any further. Well, you really don't know that. You really don't know that. You know what I mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, Shakur's last fight was a knockout. In terms of, and this is a point that we're not even talking about. Like, I don't really care to talk about what weight class Shakur Stevens is going to be at. I don't really care about whether his power is going to transfer or not. You know what I mean? It just sounds like you don't like Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? It just sounds like you don't fuck with Shakur. And if that's what it is, then just say that. You don't got to sit here and discredit the man or try to shit on his accolades because you're not a fan of him. You don't like it, just keep it a buck. No, I don't like him. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fighters that I give them their props. There's a lot of fighters that have impressive accolades, but I don't like them. And I say that I don't like them because I don't have a problem saying it. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to shit on their credentials because I'm not a fan of them. That's just not what we do over here. That's not what I get into. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand why you saying he. Why do you care to even speak on that? I don't know, bro. Um, I don't know what he wants me to say about that. Jaron had just come off a knockout win against Frampton. Yeah, and retired Frampton. On top of that, Frampton immediately retired after that fight. So how was he out of his prime? That's a valid question, Ralph. You use what you doing is you're not using your emotions. Everything you said was factual. Statement number one: Jaron had just come off of a knockout win against Frampton. That's facts. You can't argue with that. You can feel however you want. You can be as emotional as you want, but one thing you can't dispute is facts. So it is what it is. Now, if you believe Edwin is going to upset him, you entitled to your opinion. You entitled to your opinion if you feel like Edwin going to get the upset because he's a dangerous fighter. Do I believe he's going to beat Shakur? No, I think Shakur is going to beat him either 8-4 or 9-3. That's what I honestly believe. I think it's going to be a convincing unanimous decision. I think that Edwin is going to have a lot of trouble trying to close the gap against Shakur Stevenson. I think that he's going to be shadow boxing against Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur is going to keep him at the end of his punches. And when Edwin De Los Santos attempts to load up on shots, Shakur Stevenson will already be out of the way. That's what I think. I think it'll be a true masterclass of boxing, like Shakur has been doing throughout his entire career. Hopefully, and De Los Santos better not gas out in the later rounds. He better not. The way that Shakur's punching power has been looking, it looks like it's improving as he's moving up. So De Los Santos better not sleep on that because he might get hurt. That's what I personally believe. Jordan Sarah said power isn't the only thing he could bring up to a higher weight to have a chance to beat any of the champions. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these dudes, specifically like casual boxing fans or guys who not as well versed as me and you who are actually in the sport, they make it seem like power is everything. And I guess they equate power to having some type of skill. I know people that could punch like a son of a bitch, but can't fight to save their life. And I'm sure we know people like that. If you've been in a boxing gym, you can hear somebody that absolutely destroy a heavy bag, put dents in a heavy bag, put dents in a power shield, but cannot box to save their life. Power is not everything, man. And then that's another thing. You can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have the skill set to land a punch, what good is it really? I'm not saying that's De Los Santos. De Los Santos, he could fight. He could box. He's a legitimate threat. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to get across is that just because this man has power and this other man doesn't necessarily mean that the powerful fighter is going to beat the less powerful fighter, because that's not the only thing that makes that's not the only thing that is needed to beat somebody in a fight. Yo, listen, me and M, if Shakur does lose and you come back to the channel and say I told you so, I would openly come on this channel and be like, yo, you know what? Yo, me and M was right. Me and M was right. He proved us wrong. And then we continue going on with our day because the boxing world going to keep turning regardless of who winning and who losing. We move on to the next one. It is what it is. I'm not one of them guys who root for a fighter all heavy and then you know what I mean? Then if that person loses after I talk all this stuff, I'm not going to disappear from the internet, bro. I'm coming right back on here. Shit, I might do a live fight reaction to it. And then a post-fight reaction right after. You know what I'm saying? Edwin proved us wrong, not him. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yo, for real. If power was everything, dudes like Lucas Matisse would be 90-0. Yeah, he'd be the greatest ever. Ernie Shavers would be the greatest heavyweight of all time. If that was the case. George Foreman would have beat Muhammad Ali if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I don't even consider it really being neutral. It's more like just sticking to the facts, man. It's more like sticking to the facts. You know what I mean? Not really putting your emotions too much on one side and getting outside of you know what I mean, your sanity. Like I don't know how to really say it. I don't really try to really get out of this bubble where, you know what I'm saying, I'm nice, relaxed, and sticking behind the facts. You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes, they get upset at a certain situation and just completely disregard the facts that are in front of them and just start talking about how they feel instead of actually talking about what's actually there. You know what I mean? I'll do everything I can. Boxing don't really get to me like that. It used to at one particular time. Like if I was an 18-year-old, if I was the 18-year-old version of myself, then you might hear a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, emotion in these predictions and and my analysis on certain fighters and fights and stuff like that. But you know what I mean, when you get older and you mature, you understand that not everything needs your emotions involved. You know what I mean? And boxing done disappointed me so much throughout these years, bro, that ain't nothing really more that could get me. I feel like I'm jaded. You know what I mean? Like it ain't nothing that could really happen in boxing right now that'll really get me in my feelings. Might be some things that'll shock me. Might be some things that'll catch me off guard. Or like, damn, really? But because boxing always gonna do that. You know what I mean? Boxing always finds a way to surprise you and things of that nature. But it's nothing that's really gonna get me outside of my emotions no more or make me gonna shed a tear or some shit like that. Boxing not that serious to me. You know what I mean? It's my sport. It's my career path. It's what I want to do with the rest of my life. But I've learned how to, you know what I'm saying, just adjust to the situation and just continue moving forward. You know what I mean? Talking about drop the link for your wife. You crazy as hell. That's funny. But yeah, that's the whole situation that's going on right now. And I would drop the link, but I'm actually gonna get off of here in a little bit. We're actually gonna get off of here in a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be on here too much longer, bro. Um I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed and get my Friday going so I can spend the West. I could chill this weekend. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. The 147 division is about to see some change, baby. Now, whether it's good or bad, that'll remain to be seen. But I think that Boots having a world title now is gonna open up some excitement for this division because I ain't gonna lie to you, 147 been dead in the water since Earl and Crawford since they fought each other. I mean, it isn't, and since they moved up, it's really been lacking that excitement and them top tier caliber fighters that we're used to seeing at the division. Sean Porter done retired. Earl Spence, Crawford, apparently they fighting at 54 or whatever, or they're gonna move to 154 soon. Who else? Keith Thurman, he's inactive. Stanionis, he's inactive. Virgil Ortiz had to move up. Um, so it's been lacking. The 147 been lacking a little bit. You know, of course, 147 was on fire when Maidana retired, Floyd retired, Pacquiao retired, Ugas talking about he may retire. So yeah, man. So we just gonna have to wait and see. Maybe Boots is because he's an exciting fighter and he's popular amongst the hardcore boxing fans and stuff like that. He may bring some excitement back into the welterweight division. We might see that. You know what I'm saying? Lorenzo says, I think it's a good thing that the governing bodies are stripping champions, make them fight. The promoters are too powerful. Yeah, and I agree with that. That was a point that I was leaning towards as well when I was thinking about the whole situation because I was at the gym when I heard this news. But as we were talking, we were saying how like damn, like Boots should have legitimately fought for that belt instead of it being handed to him. I'm sure he didn't like the idea of the belt just being handed over to him without fighting anybody for it. You know, because we heard Tim Tszyu say the same thing. He was like, I don't feel validated yet, but after I defend this belt against Brian Mendoza, then I'll feel, you know what I mean? I'll feel better as being a champion. You know what I'm saying? I'll feel more vindicated as a champion after he beats Brian Mendoza. And I think that's what Jaron Ennis wants to do. I'm sure he wanted to fight Crawford for the belt so he could say that he's the best in the division and be undisputed world champion. But he's just in a situation now where I've seen people calling him an email champ and all types of stuff like that. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Because knowing Boots, knowing his character and exactly what he wants to accomplish in the sport, the last thing he want to do is receive his status as a world champion through an email. You know what I mean? Jordan Sheriff, he says, a shame Boots missed out on the moment of winning it in the ring. That's exactly what I'm saying. I feel bad for him. You know what I mean? Because it seems like Boots can't seem to get away from criticism regardless of what he does. These guys don't want to fight him. They talk about how his resume is shitty, as if it's his fault. He goes up against an opponent who they feel isn't worthy of him, or he's fought bums. And now they're about to say, oh, he only got a world title because they handed it to him. He's a paper champion. All these different things. You know what I'm saying? That's his first world title. Yeah, it is. He was the IBF interim champion. But since they stripped Terence Crawford, they elevated him to full champion. You know what I mean? So they pretty much took it from Crawford, gave it to Boots. In all honesty, I'm surprised they didn't give him the same treatment that they just gave Rolly. Rolly's champion in recess, and Ismael Barroso and O'Hara Davies are going to fight for the vacant interim belt. And I guess whoever wins that fight between Barroso and Davies is supposed to face Rolly for the legitimate world title when he comes back off of this injury. I'm surprised they didn't do that with Terence Crawford, where they made him champion in recess, had Boots fight for the vacant belt against whoever's on the list, and then Boots will have to fight Bud for the legitimate title. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? This all up to the sanctioning bodies, man. They probably felt like the division needed some motion, so and they figured they would get it from Jaron Ennis because he's pretty much open to fighting anybody. But it is what it is. Ralph says, I hate how they trash his resume. He can't force these dudes to get in there with him. It takes two for a fight to happen. Yeah. That always annoyed me. When you see that a fighter is really trying to get these big fights, these legacy-defining fights, and then these guys turn them down, so it ends up being a situation where, oh, well, this guy, he hasn't fought anybody, as if the dude that hasn't fought anybody hasn't been trying to fight everybody. Boots has been calling these guys out for years, and they don't even want to look his direction. That's not his fault. Jordan Sheriff says probably won't even have many challenges for that belt, neither, based on how much he's been avoided this year. Well, if that's the case, then if he can't find these quality opponents, man, then he's just going to have to get them belts one by one. Whoever ends up getting the WBA, take it from him. Whoever ends up getting the WBO, take it from him. Whoever gets the WBC, take it from him. That's what he's gonna have to do, man. He's gonna have to. If he doesn't have any solid challengers in his weight division that may cause him problems, just sweep that division up and then move up. You know what I'm saying? Sweep that division up, regardless of whether they bums or not. Get them cans out the way, and then really start getting into it with the big boys at 54. That's what I would advise Jaron to do. Shit, do it. What was his name? Do what Joe Louis did. Have a bum of the month. Just knock him off the list. Knock him off the list. And keep getting them belts till you consider the undisputed champion of the world. The IBF wants their money. That's interesting too, Lorenzo, because I was thinking maybe Bud didn't want to pay them sanctioning fees. He's been speaking out about sanctioning fees. You know what I mean? How these sanctioning bodies are charging fighters to represent their belt, but they don't do anything for fighters, like provide a union or anything of that nature. He's been speaking out about it. Him, Andre Ward, Earl Spence as well. So maybe he wasn't feeling paying that sanctioning fee, and they were like, all right, you don't want to cut us that check, then you might have to come up off that belt. It could be so many different situations, but according to Michael Benson, the IBF says they stripped Terence Crawford because he's caught up in a rematch with Earl Spence, and he's not able to fight Jaron Ennis. So that's why they ended up taking the belt from him. But, yo, I'm going to get up out of here, man. My brain foggy as hell. I feel like I'm talking all over the place. That's my live for the day. I'm gonna be making a video tomorrow, really expanding on my thoughts on this whole Jaron Ennis becoming the IBF World Champion. You know what I mean? And Bud being stripped of it. I'm gonna definitely get into that more. I got 17 people in the building. If you could leave a like, you know what I mean? If you could share the video, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and click all so you'll know when I'm going live or posting videos. That would be truly appreciated. Thank you very much. This is Mazuma TV. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. The boy Jordan, Sheriff, Ralph, Lorenzo, Mimi. Who else? Who else? Notes, of course. Shotgun Left. Everybody that's in the building. Slime. LeBronto. Everybody that was in the building, man. I appreciate everybody that's been coming on. I appreciate you, Jaron. Thank you very much. We got to bring you on the channel, man. You let me know when you're available. We could get this interview popping, man. I appreciate your insights during these lives, and I would love to get your opinion on fights that's coming up right now, man. So whenever we could lock in on the day that we could both come on here and chop it up about some boxing, please let me know. You know what I mean? You got my social media as well, man. Whenever you have some type of availability, just let me know. We gonna make it happen, man. That's what we do at Mazuma TV. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Stop Motion MMA. I appreciate that, homie. Thank you. Slineway says I'm gonna drop kick you soon, bro. You not lifting your fat ass ain't lifting your leg up for nobody, man. Cut it out. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even doing that. You ain't even kicking your leg up to tie your motherfucking shoe. So you ain't drop kicking nobody, nigga. Cut that shit off. Anyway, let me get up out of here, man. This is Mazuma TV. Shout out to the nation. Shout out to the mob for tuning in. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Peace.